What's going on, guys? Welcome to In the Zone. I'm your host, Garrison Roy, and today we're going to go on a little bit of a mental minute episode. But for those of you who are new, we do have different types of segments or types of episodes here, right? So we have the mental minutes like today, or we have rants, or I go in and discuss hot topics, call out some BS in the industry, little things like that. And then also full length interviews, which we have several of those, roughly try to get those out at least once a week. And then deep dive educational exploration. This is just me kind of either going into a little bit more research studies or going a little bit more in depth on some things as far as how we can help improve the game overall. So if you got any future topics, questions, or guest suggestions, the DMs and the email inbox is always open for you guys. In the zone podcast 123 at gmail.com, or find me in any of the socials. Royal Performance is usually the tag that I use, or just look up my name. It'll usually pop up right there. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get right into this one for the mental minute. And it kind of goes hand in hand with, the attitude, effort, and really more body language altogether, right? So they do complement each other very well, right? But I'll start with attitude. And these are things that really, as you're kind of going through a mental headspace, these are things that you can control, right? And if your attitude's off, your body language is going to be off, and then your effort is also going to be subpar. So to keep that in check, really, you got to make sure that you're coming in with a good attitude, right? Regardless of whatever happens in school, girlfriend, or things going on with family. Uh, that's things that you have to leave outside of the white lines. And I've expressed this and shared this several times before in other episodes, but I did have a lot of personal things early on in my college career where it kind of derailed some of my focus and effort. Now, some of that I actually kind of flipped and did too much of an effort where I was trying to do things too much in order to compensate and kind of putting baseball on a pedestal versus allowing my work ethic and things that I've done in the past just kind of take care of itself, right? But it's good to have a positive attitude, be able to be willing to have a go-getter. Hey, let's go ahead and get this thing done, right? And not to say that everything's going to be hunky-dory, because of course, baseball is a game of failure. You're going to fail. And you need to learn how to really not avoid failure, but fail forward, right? Because if you're trying to avoid a bunch of things, let's say you're, driving down the road and you're trying to avoid every little small pothole or things like that, you're probably going to get into some bigger trouble with some other cars on the other side of the road, right? So you don't want to try to avoid things, but rather continue to go through and stay on the path or stay on the road, right? And obviously, with your effort, that's a big X factor in any type of achievement or improvement in your life. You have to put forth as much effort as you can. To kind of go into a little bit of a story about this, right? I was coaching a middle school team, and the head coach of the varsity, high school varsity, comes out and notices that some of the guys, we were going through bunt defense, PFPs, and things like that, they were just kind of going through the motions. And he kind of chimed in a little bit, and all of a sudden he noticed that these guys weren't giving their best effort. Sure enough, he kind of brought them all in, ripped into them, was like, hey, you got to come in, you got to be ready to and be willing to put in the work. Just because you have the team jersey or the team gear or you have all the cool drip doesn't mean that you made it, right? These are things that you have to work on. These are things that you have to put in more effort every single day, right? You can hear this as far as anything that goes to trying to expand on things to try to bring in more effort. But you got to bring it every single day. It's not going to be just a couple of days and then, oh, hey, okay, cool, I can coast now. But this is something that even me as being a podcaster or coaching athletes, like, hey, I got to bring my best every single day too. I'm laying down a single brick as perfectly as it can be laid over and over and over again every single day, doing every single thing that I can as best as I can to the best of my abilities or whatever that ability is that I have in the tank for that day. Right. And again, we only have so many hours in a day. You may not be able to complete everything in one day, but know and say, hey, I at least checked off one thing or got closer to my goal or took some actions to get a little bit better at one thing, right? And that's how you're going to persevere and learn through any challenges, any failure, is to continue to keep putting effort, right? Same thing with these podcasts. I continue to put out episodes, or I continue to put out posts, right? It's not just going to have one little post and everything goes viral. That's kind of, again, a microwave mentality that a lot of guys in the younger generation tend, and myself included here, again, not excluding myself, but we just want things to be done quick, or things to just take off after doing a little bit of effort. Or, hey, I deserve, this is a big one too. And I was thankfully able to check myself on this, but like for guys who've put in a whole lot of money, put in a whole lot of effort into improving the game of baseball, that they feel like they deserve to be a professional baseball player or even get a shot at playing professional baseball. And that's not always necessarily true, right? Again, that should be your end goal. And you do need to have some type of level of delusion whenever you're first starting out to know that and think that you're going to make it there. But that doesn't mean that you deserve it. Nothing's going to be handed to you in life at all, right? So again, with all of those being said, how it also boils down to your body language, how you're going about doing things through the best amount of effort, or how you're going about having and expressing a good attitude, even if you do fail, right? It speaks volumes to your teammates, to your coaches, even to the people in the stands or scouts or whoever else is there, on your body language. You make an error, you boot it, whatever. Hey, you know what? You think to your head, hey, so what? Move on. Next pitch, right? Let's get the next one. You have the, I guess, decency to be frustrated in the moment, but you can't hold on to that frustration. You can't hold on to that failure and let it continue to bog you down. And a really easy way to think about this is a guy who does that error, their head sinks down, their shoulders slouch, right? That alone is putting you in a very defeated state, right? Versus like, hey, okay, cool. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna drop it. I'm still looking, my head's still up. Maybe pound the glove a few times, or maybe you just kind of recheck, made a stupid swing in the box. So what? Next pitch, right? You got to continue to fail forward and continue to have more and more things to help bring you just more resiliency, right? It's things that's going to help you become more determined. And even having that state, again, people say different things about Tony Robbins, and you see things about him and what he's done, but he has a very good point where he talks about being in a state, right? And he talks about talking with certainty or saying yes, things like that, right? But there's things to that where if your state is being very sluggish and slow, oh yeah, just another day out here, man, living the dream. Do you think you're actually going to bring your best effort with that type of even just voice that you might be hearing, or even just how I was even slouching, talking like this? You can notice that my voice changes when I slouch versus when I stick my chest out. I'm like, hey, let's do this thing, guys. I'm talking from my diaphragm. I'm talking through the screen here. I'm speaking to you, not just words that are being said, right? This is really goes into pretty much anything in life, guys. This is that these mental hacks, if you want to even call it that. This is how you're going to be able to take this away, put it into practical experience in your lives later on. But that's pretty much it, guys. It's your attitude affects your effort, and your effort can also affect your body language, right? Vice versa, however you would want to put that in there. All three of them tie in together. And those are really some of the three most controllable things that you can control in the game or in life, really, right? You can't control if things happen. You can't control if an umpire makes a bad call. You can't control if your teammate makes an error or miscommunicates with you, doesn't do the play right, doesn't get the bunt down, whatever it might be. What you can control is those three things. And if you can control those three things, you're going to put yourself in a really good position to win. Again, it's not a guarantee that you'll win, but it's putting yourself in the best position possible to win and to help you stay in the zone. Appreciate you guys listening in. If you got anything out of this episode, please share it, send it out there. And as always, stay in the zone.